As I write these words, I'm sitting in a small town called Bradley, Maine, just a few miles from Old Town, Maine, where Old Town kayaks are still made. To be clear, I'm stranded here. You see, the mechanic told me that the repairs for my old truck would be more than what she's worth. Apparently, I blew the engine, whatever the heck that means. So here we sit, along the banks of the Penobscot River. You might be interested to know that Spanish explorers came up this river in 1524. The French made it up in 1605, and in 1779 an entire American fleet was destroyed in these waters. The river itself is named after the Penobscot Native American tribe that still calls this place their home. Nowadays, it's used mostly for recreational purposes, but in the 19th century, this river was brimming with logs as the Great Northern Forest was harvested. And in some places, you can still witness the remains of her fascinating history. There's a story here, many stories, in fact. And when I stand along the banks of the river and listen, I can almost hear those stories being recounted. The ringing of axes, the blast of muskets, the smell of the smoke from Penobscot villages. Thousands of stories flowing into one mighty current, each one bound for the ocean where they'll be lost in the endless chasm of history past. As for me and my family, we've sat here for a week. I've put my feet in these waters. My children have played along the banks of this river. And now this river holds a piece of our story as well. And I can't help but wonder, have my children walked where Indian children once walked long ago? Have they played where battles were once fought? If rivers could talk, if trees could tell stories, if the sand itself could rise and speak. Maybe I'm a fool, but what if a river could sing? What would it sing of? Would it sing of many winters past, or would it sing of the dawning of spring? Would it sing of the flow of ice or the glow of fires along its banks? Better yet, if I could communicate with the Penobscot, if I could whisper into her ear, if I could complain of my woes, tell her that my truck broke down, if I could tell her that I'm stranded here, what would she say to me? Would she carelessly shrug me off? Or would she comfort me? Life is interesting, isn't it? It's much like a river. It's winding, twisting. Sometimes it overflows, sometimes it's chaotic. Other times it's gentle, comforting. Sometimes it's a deafening roar, and other times a soft ripple. But also, much like a river, life is a network of stories, experiences. It's really the conglomeration of many things all at once, sometimes rushing together, other times diverted into a billion tiny segments. And as I sit here today, stranded, this river reminds me that even this is part of my own story. And somehow, as much as I loathe it, the rest of my story depends upon this part. Without this bit, I am somehow incomplete, a chapter unfinished. And so I don't ask for sympathy. I don't ask for deliverance. Instead, I ask that I'll have the patience to let this chapter unfold. And to the river, to the mighty Penobscot, I offer my thanks. I'll sit here for a few more moments, and I'll listen as you remind me that life is a story. Life is a river. Just relax and let it flow.